All right, welcome everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Now, leading things off, our first guest is a lawyer, a founder, and owner of Outerbridge. It's a law firm, Outerbridge Law PC. And she's here today to highlight the services that her firm provides, including important information on affordable rent for tenants suffering during this pandemic. Now, we're going to talk to her. She's from a wonderful island, but she lives here in the States. And welcome to the show, please. Alagracia Pierre-Outerbridge. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. It's a privilege for me to be here, and I'm happy and excited to share information with the people of the Bronx, where I went to college, about landlord-tenant during COVID-19.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your background and then bring us up to date.
So I was born and raised in Haiti. I came here in the 10th grade at about age 15, purebred, really born and raised there. When I came here, we went to live in Queens, Long Island, and the story took off from there.
All right. And so then how did you get into law and everything like that?
So, I mean, it's a long story. It feels like a long time ago, but went to high school, finished high school, then went to college on a French scholarship because I was born and raised in Haiti. I was fluent. So language was really my pathway into getting, when we came here, we had very low means. So language was really my pathway into getting resources. So learned English in high school. In the last 2 years, was still learning English, first year of college. So I really banked on the French and the Creole. So I received a full scholarship. We couldn't afford college. I received a full scholarship to Manhattan College in the Bronx for French, for studying and teaching French as a student in the college. Wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Those were my 4 years in the Bronx, really wonderful experience. Thereafter, my French mentor, the head of the French department. I mean, it was really my people really. Language has always been a big thing. So being a lawyer comes, easy because language has always been something that I really enjoy speaking, getting points across, getting ideas across in different ways. So language really does that for me. So my mentor in college, the head of the French department, said, you really should go to law school. And she said, you should look at CUNY Law School. So I applied, I was waitlisted. So nothing comes easy, right? I was waitlisted for, and then the weekend before school started, that Friday, I received an email saying you've now been accepted. So I remember I remember getting on the bus. That's a good feeling,
right?
Isn't it? I remember getting on the bus and just running before 5 o'clock and running to pay my tuition for Monday morning. And all of a sudden I was in law school, and it was just like, wow, wonderful time. I'm glad for city schools, for public schools, really made me. Then finished law school and worked for legal aid, legal services as an attorney for, doing housing. Really have only done housing, landlord tenant. So I spent a good amount of time, at least 5 years, being a legal aid, legal services attorney. So I've been on all ends of this. I thereafter went into private practice representing tenants. Then I went into representing landlords in private practice. So I've really seen all sides of this, large landlords, small landlords, tenants associations, co-ops, condos, really the whole gamut.
All right, so can you say for me your name and what you do in French and tell them to come and see me?
Bien sûr. Mon nom, c'est Alagracia. Je suis une avocate qui représente les locataires et les maîtres de maison. Venez me voir. Mon téléphone, c'est le 212 364 56 12. Et puis, nous pouvons vous aider si vous avez des problèmes comme maître de maison ou comme locataire.
Yeah, and say, come and see me because I can take good care of you.
Venez nous voir, nous pouvons vous assister.
There you go. Okay, so you what aspect you're dealing with the tenants and landlords, right?
Yes.
Tell us what you're working on now.
Wow, we have some very interesting cases. I can't say too much due to confidentiality, but we have all types of cases that come in. We have emotional support animal cases where landlords are saying you can't have your pet. So we come in and we save the day. No, we deal with that. We have cases where we represent large landlords as well. We represent small landlords. We represent mom and pops. We represent, brownstones. We have a lot of cases about overcharges where tenants are being overcharged in rent. So we do the calculations and we fight for the overcharge to be refunded. We have cases about security deposits not being refunded, large securities, smaller securities. So we come in and we get the job done, getting the security refunded. I mean, we have the whole gamut. We have cases about repairs that are not being completed. We have cases about noise, excessive noise. We have cases about noisy neighbors, noisy construction, anything really that gets your home to be your haven. That's what we do. If you don't feel comfortable, that's I say that our logo is not our logo. Our motto really is, if it has a roof on it, we deal with it.
Yeah, and if you don't feel comfortable, come and see me. I'll try to take care of it for you. You deal a lot with immigrants, right?
I do. So we have a branch that does immigration as well, a branch of our practice.
That's good. All right. So if somebody was to reach out to you and they had a serious problem, what's the first step that they need to know?
In terms of landlord tenant?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a great question, because the umbrella is find out what type of apartment you have, because once you know what type of apartment you have, apartments are classified in certain ways, right? Although it looks to be, you live there, but legally your apartment has a status. What is the status of this apartment? Is it rent stabilized? Is it rent controlled? Is it, market rate? Is it, deregulated? Like what is this apartment, right? The gold standard is to be rent stabilized, right? If you're rent stabilized, as you may know, right? If it's usually if you're 6 or more units and built before, if the building has 6 or more units and built before 1974, and it's not a co-op or a condo, and it hasn't reached a certain threshold. Right now, the threshold is close to 2774, right? I had it written down somewhere. If it's under a certain threshold, more than 6 units built before 1974, not a co-op or a condo, you'll likely rent stabilized. So the first step is, the gold standard is, am I rent stabilized? Because rent stabilization confers so many rights, right? And a lot of tenants are not being treated as rent stabilized, even though they are rent stabilized. So
how have you, go ahead. And you'll put the rest of that on your website. I'm just trying to get a couple more questions in there, maybe one more, and then they're gonna wrap me. But during the pandemic, how have people reached out to you? Because I know a lot of people haven't been able to pay their rent.
Mm-hmm. So we get a lot of these questions. So the first thing we do, right? We try not to get involved in non-payment cases because we don't think it makes sense if you're true, or if we get involved, it's limited representation. Because if you're having a problem paying the rent and it's a legit rent that's owed, then we don't think we serve you best by having you spend money on legal fees, right?
Yeah.
But our limited representation, limited scope of review is, are you rent stabilized? Is your rent even correct? Because often, and I say often, people come to us and say, I owe all this money. And then we look, they don't owe it because the rent is illegal. It's an overcharge.
Yeah.
So we
plus the government has put a moratorium on it or something like that.
Correct.
You don't have to pay until he put a hold on it, I guess.
He put a hold on it, yes, till May 1. Generally till May 1, which is coming up quickly. So we're getting a lot of these calls. It gets more complicated than that, right? But the first step is, am I rent stabilized? Once you're rent stabilized, and we have a lot of ways to go, right? To see if your rent is correct, to see if you're due a refund of an overcharge. Mm-hmm. Other ways, people are coming to us also saying, my something in my apartment is not working. If something is not working, you probably shouldn't be paying the entire rent. So negotiating an abatement, especially during a pandemic. Mm-hmm.
I like what you're doing. You're handling our community, and you're doing a great job, I hear. Where can we go to get more information on what you're doing?
Sure. You can give us a call. It's 212-364-5612. Our website is easy. It's outerbridgelaw.com. Our email is contact@outerbridgelaw.com or info@outerbridgelaw.com or connect@outerbridgelaw.com. Either way, you'll find us, and we're happy to help.
Alagracia Pierre-Outerbridge. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And come back again. I know we can talk all day about all the wonderful things that you're doing in our community, but they got us segmented, and I have somebody else coming up. But thank you. You're always welcome to come back, right?
Sure. I want to hear about the music.
Yeah, I'll let you hear some of the music too. But say, my house is your house.
La calle c'est la calle.
Oh, I'm going to try to learn that, okay? Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you. We love you too.
Right. We'll take a break right here. We'll come back and hit you off some more, just the way you like it. Next on Open.